Only a few in attendance. What's that? So we do in my meetings every Friday. We call it Jersey Friday. So guys wear it could be any jersey. I've been doing a high school jersey from the Cleveland area every Friday this year. So, and I think Glenville's still in the playoffs, right? Yeah.
To get those returns engaged, especially getting the 44-yarder. How key was that in terms of helping to give the offense good positioning, especially with Shador starting?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I thought our guys did a good job being able to stay in phase with their coverage guys down the field, and Gage did a nice job of getting the ball downhill and attacking their coverage. Set up a score, which was great for us. So hopefully continue to build off of that in the next handful of weeks.
Could that be for a guy like him who obviously he misses the touchdown grab the week before? I think he was talking a little bit about that after the game, like feeling like he could contribute something really positive in this win the following week.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything to be able to give our team, an added boost, to be able to, give our offense a good starting field position. It's gonna ultimately help our team.
There's been a few where he's maybe been close to breaking one. Has that been the case kind of over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he's just trying to he's relatively new to the position, so I think he's still trying to figure out like how to be more decisive with his running. I think that once he gets that, I think being able to set up on the ball well, that way he's square and has a two-way go on the catch. I think that's going to help him. But he's definitely improved as the season has gone along.
Andre has found a lot of consistency from how he started the year for you guys. How have you seen him kind of get through some of those early struggles to where he's at now, and also what kind of challenge will this week be with the weather that we're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think it ultimately starts with the process, right? The practice repetitions, being able to consistently hit the ball in practice, and then obviously when we get to the game, it's being able to connect and start it out with again, your warm up, figuring out what the wind's doing, figuring out the elements. We've played in a decent amount of those this year with wind and rain and things like that. So I think that having done that, I think that'll help him moving forward. But his process has been very good. He's been very consistent in both practice and in games.
Sky Moore, and just what a nice job he's been doing.
Yeah. Very talented returner. Very talented. Does it both for them, punt and kick return. Productive player. Played against him when I was in Indy. So pretty familiar with his skill set and his running ability. He's got good vision, aggressive returner, has the ability to run all the types of returns, field returns, boundary. But he's a good player. He's from Pittsburgh too.
They're going. It seems like Matt Gay's going to kick for him again. It sounds like
It's trending. It feels like it's trending that way. Yeah.
But just I mean, obviously, if it's him or if it's Panera, just the difference between the two kickers. I mean, how much of an adjustment is that for you in your units, depending on which guy it ends up being?
I coached both players with the Colts. I had Eddie in training camp 1 year. He competed with Rodrigo Blankenship, and then I had Matt on practice squad for about half the year. That was in 2020, I want to say, before he ended up getting poached to L.A. Pretty familiar with both guys. Both are very, very talented. Both have been accurate in their careers. I would say some of their kickoff stuff is different. Both guys do a really good job, though. So we'll be prepared for both.
We talked about Corey last week, and you said you're looking for more consistency. And then after the game, Kevin singles him out for kicking it like you wanted. How pleased were you with what he was able to do last week?
Yeah, did a good job with his placement. The hang times were good. He'd like to have that 1+50 ball back that kind of drifted toward the middle of the field, but I think aside from that, he was really executing at a high level for us on what we wanted him to do. I thought we got good performance out of our new gunner. D'Angelo Ross did a nice job in the game, both forcing fair catches and nearly had the one tackle, but he factored for us for sure.
From the 29.
Yeah.
Just what went into that decision? Sort of abnormal, I would assume. And have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, we've had when I was coaching in New England, we had situations like that quite a bit at the end of games. So the ball's initially on the 34-yard line. So at that point, do you want to kick a field goal? The only thing that can beat you at that point is really a block kick, and then they score, and then they have the opportunity to kick the onside kick. I just feel like I was trained in my coaching career to, if you can end the game, let's not give the other team an opportunity to get the ball back. So the thought of hitting the punt there, you don't risk really getting the kick blocked because of how we're executing on the punt. We're getting that thing out super quick, super fast. We're hitting it out of bounds. The one thing we could have done was, obviously they jumped off sides and had the penalty for illegal formation for covering up the snapper. The ball goes now to the 29-yard line. We could have potentially tried to draw them off sides again to get it was 4th and 2 at that point. And then that would have backed it up. If we had taken a delay game, that would have backed it up, then we would just execute the same way. But I had that situation a number of times when I was in New England, a couple times in Indy, but never from the 29-yard line.
As a player across Villanova, New England, Cleveland, all these cold cities, how did you like playing in potential snow games, and then kind of how has your view changed, if at all, becoming a special teams coach?
Yeah, playing in the elements as a player, it's fun. Last year we had the game against Pittsburgh. I've had games in my career as a player where you remember those types of games because it's uncomfortable and you just find a way to grind through it and get the win and figure it out any way you can. And obviously we play outside in Cleveland right now, and it's going to probably be one of those types of games where you just got to figure it out and grind through it and find a way.
When you talk about the return game, did you think, I'm sure it's a combination, but was it more blocking versus the returners why you haven't had as many explosives as you'd like?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. There's been times where it feels like we're like one block away or we didn't make the right read. I think we all have a hand in that. I think it's the blocking, the returning. I think we can definitely improve in all those areas. But yeah, to your point, I think it's a combination of everything.
Just about how hard the team fought in that game and how all the different phases of the game fed off of each other and how great it was to be part of something like that.
Yeah, the way that you win football games is being able to play complementary to one another. Offense, defense, special teams, be able to control the field, helping out your offense in the return game, helping out your defense in coverage. So being able to do that in all 3 phases was a good thing to have in the game. But hopefully we can continue to do that in the next 6 games. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Good. Get rolling.
Can you sort of wrap up how you think Shador did and what you thought of his performance?
Yeah, I think hard to win on the road, hard to win as a rookie. Did a nice job in some of the things we asked him to do. Our focus is really, like it's been all year, on the process of how to improve and how to continue to get better. And for these young players that are playing for us offensively, finding all those teachable moments to continue to improve on. There's a lot of plays he would like to have back. there's a lot of great learning opportunities out there. And then there's a lot of plays that he made that, helped our offense and helped us score enough points to win the game. But, again, we're really doubling down on how can we be process oriented, not get too caught up in a result of a win or a loss, and just focus on every time you come in on a Monday, there's going to be a bunch of plays that you want to correct. They're just usually easier to correct when you win than when you lose. So our focus is there on continuing to improve. I think Shadur's done a really nice job this week of continuing to prep and really starting to hone in on the things we're asking of him, and excited for another opportunity.
Seemed to really play from within the pocket a lot more than even those 2 quarters against Baltimore. What was sort of the process in getting him more comfortable to stay within the pocket, not drift back?
Yeah, I don't think there's like a magic solution here, right? I think you just got to continue to show evidence of, hey, this is a clean pocket. This is what it looks like. These are the times where we need to stay in here and read things out. And with him, there's the balance of, hey, he can do some things creatively outside of the pocket. Like, when is it time to go and when is it time to stay in there? There was a third down there during the game last week where it felt like we could have stayed in there instead of flushing out to our left. And he's the first one to recognize those things. And then, the play extension to Jerry on the big in cut, we have a little pressure off our right side that made him move right. And then that's a great example of, hey, this is a good time to get out of there and, find something down the field. He does a really nice job of keeping his eyes downfield as he evades. So I would love to say, hey, there's one thing that we do that gets him to stay in the pocket. I think it's just the teachable moments that come up throughout the course of a game to show him what a clean pocket looks like. Or if we got a route concept versus a coverage we really like, you might be a little bit more willing to hang in there and let it develop. And a lot of that comes with time and reps and time on task.
Kevin talked about the 52-yard throw to Isaiah, that being such a high-level play, and them being in cover 0 and the free runner. But
yep.
That play specifically, like, how much do you think that opened things up throughout the course of the game and opened up maybe some of the shorter passing lanes?
Yeah. I don't know if it necessarily opens things up in terms of how you're describing it. I think we were going to be hot on that play. We could have protected a little bit differently to be less hot. He makes an unbelievable individual effort, a great throw off his back foot, gets hit. It's right where you want it. They're playing cover 0, which is an aggressive call. It might have dissuaded them from playing cover 0 throughout the game, which, again, helps our protection moving forward. And then I think for him, it's kind of like your first start, you're on the road, like, make that first play, and then it kind of settles you into the game. So when you talk, like, I look at it through the lens of, what does it open up? It probably opens up a little bit of a confidence and a relief from, okay, make that big play, and now let's focus on moving forward and going to continue to play. And I think as a young player, when you have that first moment where it's like, all right, I made the play, now let's just settle into the game. But no, it was a great individual effort, and I think that helped him throughout the course of just staying confident and calm as the game went on.
Is he more willing to take the deep shot, or have these always obviously probably been in the game plan, but maybe Shador has so much confidence in his accuracy to go ahead and take him?
Yeah, I think guys have different not to compare it to anybody else or anybody else that's played quarterback for us, whether it's Joe or Dylan or anybody else. Like, I just think throughout the course of a game, sometimes you call the shot versus the coverage you want and you get it to go, right? And sometimes you don't, and you got to check the ball down and make the right decision. That's part of the process for our guys, is instilling in them is, hey, these are the premier looks that we're calling these verses, and this is what we want them against. And when we have those looks, let's take a rip. If not, then make the right decision and we'll call it again. In the first game he played, I think somebody asked me about it last week. We hit Harold on the big in cut, that 2-minute drive. We had called it earlier in the game. And the deal with those guys is like, hey, when we get the look we want, let's make it work. When we don't, make the right decision and live for another down. And I think we checked it down to Dave and got like 9 yards, and good decision. And, hey, we'll get back to it. And if we get the good look, let's go take the shot. And we did later in that game. So when you call those shot plays, you try to program the quarterback to understand, like, hey, if we don't get it, solve the problem, make it right. It's a run down or it's an advantage down for the offense. We'll call it again, and we'll try to get another shot at the right coverage and let it rip.
We've talked a lot about the rookies, and you got a huge performance from a bunch of them on Sunday. Just what's it been like this season, having so many of them, having to rely on so many? I'm sure there's good, that, bad
Yeah.
from that?
Yeah, let's just look at it from the positive. I would say, like, seeing their development throughout the year is pretty rewarding as a coach. Like, when you have young guys that you think about the first time they step foot in the building for rookie mini camp to, having Samp lead the team on a breakdown after practice or in the meeting room, and, like, just seeing their roles increase, seeing their development take place, see, like, tangible evidence of where they've improved on the field, both mentally and physically. Like, that part is exciting. That part is a lot of fun to work with. I really haven't looked at it as a negative throughout the year. We knew we were going to have a young offense of core players. It's exciting to be able to work with those guys. A lot of them have contributed. You think about Gage, who was in here, as an true undrafted rookie, earning his way, like making all the plays to earn his opportunity to be on the team, and then him making a huge play on special teams to set us up. And then he's in there at the end of the game in 4-minute offense, blocking Chin, who's a safety, who's got a lot of weight on him, and he's doing a great job. So that group of guys are a lot of fun to work with. They really are. They got a good connection. They have good energy about them. Football is very important to all those players, and to kind of see that group collectively take a step forward and help us win a game was really rewarding as a coach.
Dylan had that kind of speed in him. It just seemed like once he.
I don't know what he ran. He was in the 4.4s though. I'm pretty sure coming out, and I know I don't know why we all give him the. I do it too because I mess with Samp a little bit and just hey, if the first guy brings you down, you're gonna have to give me that. Like we joke around that way, and so he was the first person to let me know after that one. But I think he ran in the 4.4s. I think we looked it up a couple weeks ago, and he's got a little more juice than you'd think. But it was a great stretch and cut. And then Said, Harold, Dave, Poe getting involved, like all of those guys in how they blocked it. And it was really a well-executed play, and we needed it at that time.
And Samson, we've seen what Quinshon's able to do, and Dylan breaking free. We talked to them both about maybe being a 1-2 punch earlier in the summer. How do you think that can maybe help open up the run game to have two highly productive backs operating at the same time in the run game and the offense?
Yeah, obviously, like when you spell your top back, when you feel like you don't miss a beat or you feel like you have a guy you can rely on, that's beneficial for the offense. They do have, a little bit different skill sets, and managing those and maximizing their skill sets is important to us. I do feel like both of them have enough versatility to their game, and we've said it for a while, like there's not a call on the call sheet where I would be worried if Q or Samp were in. Like, let them both roll. And, we try to make a concerted effort to get Samp more involved as the year's gone on. And obviously he played really well for us last week, and even the week before he had a couple nice runs there in the first couple series. So he's really like when we talk about the rookie class and guys that are fun to work with and committed to doing things the right way, he's really one of those players you point to, and I'm excited for him to have the success. And everybody's talked about Q all year, and rightfully so. He's played really well for us, and he's definitely a guy that our offense runs through, right? Like you have guys that you try to get involved. Our offense really is running through Q, and then Samp becomes a great complementary piece to that, and somebody that can have his role in his own right.
Solid defense. What are you guys on the lookout for, and just how well are they playing even though they only have 13 seconds?
Yeah, no, they're playing. I mean, they played really well a couple nights ago, and they've had a ton of injuries on defense, and to see them play as well as they have, that's credit to that staff. Obviously, you kind of know what you're going to get with him and the way he structures his defense. They play a lot like our defense schematically, and which is something we're accustomed to seeing. They play hard, they play fast, they rally to the football, they attack you defensively. They have, the thing Saleh does really well is his pressure packages. I know the sack numbers aren't maybe what they want, but the pressure on the quarterback, they're able to create that a lot of different ways. So we'll have our work cut out for us. They're a really well-coached team, and they got, still have good players even through the injuries. So we got to make sure we put our best foot forward.
What was your first introduction to the Wildcat, and why do you like it so much?
Yeah.
Inside the red zone or inside the 10?
Like ever with the Wildcat? When I was working at Notre Dame, we introduced it. Never got a ton of benefit out of it there, just for whatever reason. I think we had it up a few weeks ago, going into the Miami game, Just felt like we could gain an extra gap in the run game, gain an extra hat in certain places. Makes you really defend in the run-specific looks all 11 without giving up too much of the schematics of it. Like, there are some real advantages to it. Q has, comfort in doing it and somebody we trust doing it, and you can kind of define the look you're going to get to attack. Obviously, we've had a lot of success here in 2 small sample sizes in games, but we've scored 4 touchdowns and have had some productive runs in the package. Our fullback was unavailable there throughout the game, so that takes you out of a certain personnel grouping. So that's kind of, the Wildcat's another one you can use in those run-heavy situations. And, we don't use it every week, but it's something we work on and have at our arsenal, and have a lot of confidence in that group of guys, making those plays work, and you can kind of define the looks that you're trying to attack.
About Harold, and especially the way he's able to pick up the yards after the catch for you guys. I mean, it just seemed like it was such a
unbelievable. Yeah, he's done that all year. We try to tell our guys, like, when you think Harold's being tackled, like, he's probably not. So keep playing through the play and keep blocking for him and keep hustling, because that block could be the difference of a 12-yard gain, and if we just stay with it, there's nobody really left. And so he's got tremendous, body control. He's got tremendous contact balance and strength. It's kind of just one of those innate things that he has. Like, I don't have a great reason why he's able to do that other than he's strong and he's got good balance and he's got a real will to him on fighting through those plays and finding ways to maximize yardage. It's really an impressive trait.